call the meeting to order. We'll do the pledge. I believe it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I'll turn the meeting over to Rick.
So we will conduct the annual organizational meeting.
I will make a motion that we leave the list the same way it is with the removal of Tim Calabrese because of his resignation and the change of green update of Betty McEnany because she volunteered to do it.
I will second that.
That was easy.
Do that one more with the exception.
Tim Calabrese, who resigned
As tree warden.
as tree warden, and changing Stephanie Knockenauer to Betty McEnany for green update because Betty wanted to do it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
None?
That was the shortest one of those I've ever done.
Thank you, Michael.
And now we'll convene
Oh,
the,
here comes Tim.
Oh, Tim, we just volunteered you for all the blank spots.
Okay.
we'll convene the monthly select board meeting for the minutes of February 12th. Everybody get them?
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes as written for February 12th, 2026.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
You need to adjust.
I do not know.
Okay. Here, citizens.
It's my usual thing I do at this meeting. You all know what it is. It's for Tell My Tax Sale, the use of the greens.
Coming up again. Come so soon. The years go by fast.
It's July 25th. It's always the last Saturday in July. This year it's July 25th with the rain date, which would be the following Saturday. Hopefully we will not need that.
I'll have that on next month so they can be voted on.
Well, I start,
For the,
I always,
for the green.
yeah, it would be both of the greens. I always start now so I can start lining up people that are, I always talk to Bobby after this meeting, so we can, it's on everybody's calendar. And I would encourage the town to have a booth here if you're looking to recruit people.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. And I may this year designate a free area. A lot of people like those free swaps. I don't know if I have the time. It is our bicentennial year, so we should kind of red, white, and blue it up, so.
So you could put it on the agenda for next month to vote on?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't really vote on it unless it's on the
It's on the
agenda.
agenda, right. The old business? Grevens Field update.
So the planning commission has been working pretty hard on an updated plan, kind of a concept for Greven Field. I know Tim's here, he did a lot of work on this. But this plan it gives the residents a nice park and area that we could all use, but it still maintains that benefit of floodplain there at Greven. I don't know if the cameras can zoom in on that, just so people would have it on Zoom. Yeah, see, you get to play with the controls. I can point a little bit, I'm gonna be in the way. So you can see, drive in the same drive with a definite parking area instead of parking all over the grass, but it would still be 1.8 acres of open grassland for everybody to, still use as kind of like a park for outdoor recreation. Kids could play baseball there, but there's not gonna be fences, dugouts, baseball field. And then a lot of tree plantings around and, a nice walking path. And kind of moving the walking path now a little further away from the river. Obviously, you need that 50-foot buffer around the river. And I think it's a great concept. I think they did kind of exactly what we were hoping for on, giving the town a place to have a park, but also helping with flood. Did I miss anything on that, really, Tim? I mean, good.
No, just add a couple things, that kind of channel that runs along goes from what, west to east.
It's like right here.
Yeah, that must have been built to divert the water. The flood, the study they did recommended filling that in and directing the water towards the field instead of, right now, it's just like a raceway that
Just takes out the road every time.
takes out the road.
Every time it
and,
rains.
rather, try to slow the water down going across the field, and then hopefully with the next flood, there's not a whole lot of work to do to bring it back. And all the plantings will be native trees, red maple, willow, that whole area kind of around the perimeter of the walkway, that would all just kind of be natural with shrub plantings and trees, and just let it go. So try to keep it as low maintenance as possible. And then a kiosk coming off the parking area there, where there'll be like a history of Grevin Field, photographs, kind of what we're doing now with flood prevention, kind of give people an idea of why we're doing this. So, and I don't think it'll be a crazy expensive project. All the plant material will be either sought out for low cost or nothing, the small plants. Probably take a look at the lawn area. It got pretty beat up during the flood, so that'll have to get
Yeah.
kind of regraded and then maybe seeded. Remember Fletcher Fields years ago, we got a price to seed it. It was like $30,000 30 years ago. And just start mowing it, level it out and mow it. Sure enough, now it's beautiful with grass.
The town does own a hydro seeder. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's,
I was gonna say, just get, one of the greats to volunteer and go down with a couple of bags and let the kids walk around doing this. That's all we care about.
I think this is gonna be a big, it's gonna be everybody. It's gonna be whether it's volunteers, town employees, and maybe some contractors to do some of the bigger work, but it's gonna be a total. I mean, we do have some money in a fund that came into, just for this after the flooding, which is completely set aside. I don't remember exactly how much, but there's, $4,000 or $5,000 or something like that. So there's some money for that, which, the kiosk and stuff like that obviously is gonna cost a little bit. But if the board's okay with that concept, we can get moving on it. I mean, well, after the snow's gone.
Well, that's the next couple of days.
Right.
Any comments or concerns? Or-
So is there enough money in that fund to cover everything that's gonna be needed?
I think we're gonna need a lot. I think we're gonna need some volunteer work as well. But
But
I think it's a pretty good start for someone. I mean, I don't really have any idea, do you, Tim, on what the cost is gonna be? And the kiosk itself, building what is, that's, it's hard to tell how much donations we're gonna get too, or donated time, I should say, not donations, but.
I mean, the kiosk, depending on the size, it could be $1,500 to $3,000, if it's professionally built.
Right. And
Tim,
then
how
the,
about, no,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. How about the plantings? How much do you think the plantings?
Again, I mean, depending, it would be nice to get some larger trees,
Mhm.
8 to 10
Some
feet tall,
mature.
just to get,
Right.
wholesale costs, they'll probably be $200 each, $250. So if we get 10, 15, that's $2,500, $3,000. But, we could always
Replant from somewhere, right?
replant, yeah.
It
So,
seems like you have an awful lot of the money.
And it might not all get done.
Yeah.
right, it'll be
Once
phased
either,
in.
Yeah, oh,
So,
okay.
and depending, if there's not enough money, we can't get funding, then you can just do, saplings. Just have to wait 5-10 years before we see
Yeah.
anything.
No, looks good.
But I mean, there's still a little bit of cleanup left too. I mean, the green monster, obviously, we talked about that. But I mean, even, we haven't tilled that up or flattened it out, and I'm not so sure what's in there and underneath that silt. There could be some metal, there still could be, so there's still a little cleanup. I mean, you guys did a lot with the cleanup, but
There was one area we missed. I think we forgot that, and every year, you get enough flooding that it brings other stuff in.
Right.
We don't know what's there until, I'll probably go over, if it stays clear, we'll probably check it next week.
Looks good.
So what is your pleasure?
I make a motion, do you want a motion or
Yes.
to go ahead with the Grevin Field Restoration Project?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Certificate of appeal or suit pending.
So this is just a yearly certificate. Basically states that we have no appeal or suit pending for the April 1st, 2025 grand list. Just needs to be signed by the board. On this here.
Are you allowed to sign things? Did you call your doctor?
Not supposed to be.
See?
All right, we'll move on to paving discussion.
So, with the budget passing and having the money for paving again this year, which is exceptional, I kind of want to have a discussion on where and how we go about paving this year again. I would like to hire the same consultant that I've hired in the past. You know, for the few $1,000s that we spend for that consultant, I believe you save that in paving, because his bid documents are pretty ironclad, so everybody's bidding on the same thing. There's no surprises afterwards. Of course, I'd like to get him coming as soon as possible. The faster we go out to bid, the better sometimes the prices you get for these things. So you can kind of get put on a schedule. As far as roads, my thought is High Street as well as Rainy Hill this year. And then I could have them put in alternate bids for town office parking lots since they're right here, and Pleasant Street. But that's basically why we're here, is to discuss the thoughts on that.
That's fine. Can I make a request? Pratt Hill, not just because I live there.
Right?
It's terrible.
Oh, yeah, that's horrid.
It
And not
is.
even the whole thing, just from the brook up, the worst part of it or something. It's,
I wonder if we could patch a little bit for a year or two. I'm pretty sure the High Street will take up a decent amount of money. And then, what we can see on that, I'm not sure. Yeah, we still got a little catching up to do on roads, for sure. But maybe they could put in some hot mix up there at least this year, if it doesn't make it to the bid document. Any thought on the, other thoughts on High Street and Rainy Hill being at least the initial goal?
I like High Street because I drove down High Street in the ambulance a couple of weeks ago.
They're both in bad
It's
shape.
bad.
It was, yeah, it was bad.
And we still have a lot of roads, like Pratt Hill, 20 Mile Stream, cutoff road. That's not that great a shape either, that hill. We still got some catching up to do, but we're getting there. I feel like we're getting some pavement down.
I say go ahead with whatever you feel needs to be done, go ahead with the bidding process.
And the board is good with me hiring that consultant. I mean, it is good. We'll get that going, and then when we do have a real bid out, I'll come back. Probably be closer to. I hope we can get it done by April's, but I'm not sure. So,
Okay.
All right. Move on to 3, discussing and possible approval of a new truck.
So I got a phone call the other day about a truck that's available. It's the exact twin to the one we have right now. The last one we purchased. It's a 2020, 25. Same color, same bed configuration, same everything, same motor. I would have to assume it was somebody ordered one. And then by the time it came in, because like we said, it's 18 months to 2 years to get one, decided they didn't want it anymore. So they thought of us. Now, I'm not looking for permission to purchase this truck yet, because I don't have any of the details for that. But I didn't want to work through all those details if, we didn't even want to go ahead with this purchase. This wasn't what was exactly on the equipment list that we had done before, just 6 months ago. We had talked about the smaller TerraStar being replaced first, but this opportunity came up. I would recommend that we don't trade in the vehicle, and we would, this is a 10-wheeler. We could probably put our 6-wheeler off to the side, have a spare truck, which is really needed. And that 6-wheeler is small enough that it could do some of the work for, like the TerraStar does, if something happens to that one as well. So it could do both, it's big enough to plow the roads, because it's doing that now, all the roads, or it's small enough where we could still kind of work it in town doing what the TerraStar currently does. I am guessing we would probably end up having to do another 5-year lease. We don't have the money in the bank to purchase half and go with the low interest state loan. We're not quite there yet. But between the money that we put in, extra money we did last year, I think we can make this purchase if we move forward. It's just a lot of money. It's $305,000 for a new 10-wheel truck. And of course, that $305,000, that is a little extra warranty plus, there's plus a towing warranty, which isn't bad. You tow one of those trucks, it's pretty expensive. But yeah, it's the exact same truck, and the opportunity's here. I told the Reed's Trucking that I'd let them know tomorrow on whether or not we're interested in moving forward, because if we're not, they'll sell it to somebody, pretty quickly.
What is your pleasure with that?
It's fun. Like the idea?
He loves the idea
And
of
the
getting
guys,
it.
are
And
they
he-
all okay with it?
Yep. And one good thing about those 10-wheelers versus a 6, I know they hold twice the material, so even this morning when we were, working on some of the muddy roads, they, even though they're twice as heavy because they get twice as much material on them, they actually don't sink down as much as those 6-wheelers. Don't know why, just weight distribution or what, whether you're hauling 14 yards of material versus 7, and you don't sink as much, so.
The footprint.
What's that?
The footprint,
Just the
spreading it out
footprint.
on the axles.
Just spreads it out just enough so it doesn't. And the benefit of having a 10-wheeler when you're sanding the roads and plowing over a 6-wheeler, 7 yards versus
Yeah.
14 yards of sand.
Less trips back and forth.
Less trips back and forth. Smaller ones are still important, that's why I would anticipate that we kept this.
Do you think we got enough for the lease?
I'm
to
gonna
swing it?
double check, and this is one thing I haven't talked with our new treasurer yet, so, because he just started
Right.
today when I needed it on the agenda, so, that's why I'm not looking for a motion to purchase it, just to move forward, to see if we can move forward and purchase it.
And there's nothing that says that we have to put an item this big out to bid.
Kind of, I mean, our own purchasing policy, but there's also, stuff in there there is no other trucks. We can go out to bid. This is the problem we ran into even with the last truck. We can go out to bid for a truck, right now, and whoever gets low bid, we're gonna get a truck in 2 years. And that's where we run into that problem. And, I would probably go out to bid with 120-day delivery or something like that, and nobody can do it. Because, we don't wanna go out to bid and just open-ended delivery time, so we would give, 3, 4, or 5 months, and there's nobody out there that can do it.
I say, my thought is to go ahead with it. I mean, a 10-wheeler cuts your time in half. All the work that they do with it, it only makes sense.
Vaughn thinks,
Fun, he likes the truck, and that truck has actually worked out really well for us. We haven't had that many problems with it, and unfortunately, the next one you get is gonna be under even newer emissions control, so I don't know what that's gonna look like. These motors keeps getting worse, and the motors are great, but the emissions keep getting worse and worse on these trucks, so they've kind of gotten worked out a little bit until the next round, in a year or two, when they're gonna go right back to the drawing board. Don't know what you're gonna get.
So the one we have identical to this is white? Is that the
Yeah.
one?
And this one doesn't have to be redone like the other one had to in order to fit underneath the trestle. This one already, it's exact.
okay.
So I can
say talk
come
to him
back in
about
April with some specifics, and but I can tell Reed's Truck Service that we're looking to move forward.
Everybody good with that?
Yep.
All right, yep. Order. Discussing the point subdivision administrator.
So with the vote on town meeting day, the subdivisions passed, which means that 21 days after that vote, the subdivision regulations will take effect. So that's March 24th is when these will take effect. Which means we need to discuss the administrating officer, and next item would be, the fees, but first, administrating officer. And I would actually recommend that Mount Scottney Region Commission takes this role on, at least some sort of hybrid role of this. I don't believe the town office has the capacity to do everything they need to do here, as well as the planning commission be, the review board. I threw you out there, Tim. Is that all right?
Yeah, no, it's either that or you
Well, you
start
hired
a
that too.
separate DRB board, which,
Right.
good luck with that.
Yeah, we got some blanks on this sheet of volunteers. I don't know if we have one to do another whole board, so.
Yeah, I think planning commission
Like I
can
said,
handle it.
planning commission's more in tune with what's written, so
Sure.
it makes sense to have them involved.
Yeah.
They
And I
know what
talked
they
to,
meant.
right, I talked to the regional commission. They're more than willing and able to, to take this on, and I think that's kind of what they do anyways.
Mhm.
But they're available for that. So I think we should at least have a motion and a vote on making Mark administrative officer.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None?
So the administrative officer for
The subdivision
all
regulation.
the subdivision regulations.
Okay, we set subdivision application fees.
Well, we need to set fees for these applications and, not just because of Mark being the administrative officer, these fees would need to be set anyways. We needed some sort of fee structure for these to cover costs. We talked a little bit about it, I think back in or last fall. During one of the meetings, it was discussed and asked what it would look like, and we came up with a sketch plan review of $100 for the application fee, subdivision, a minor for $100 each lot, a major $150 hearing fee plus $100 each lot, and then of course the Mylar recording at $25 and a recording fee of $15 per page. That still holds true today. We didn't readjust that from that meeting. I will say that, we'll keep this separate, and we may have to readjust these after we get a few applications. Don't really know what the
Then we
cost.
see what we're into.
This is gonna be close. I'm not positive it's gonna 100% cover all the costs, but we'll know more after we get a few, but I think this is a good place to start.
Everybody good with those numbers?
I'm good with those. Do you want a motion on that?
Probably should.
Yeah, we probably should just set the fees. Do you have
copy down those numbers?
I did not, but I can get a copy of that.
It's pretty small print. I'm glad you got your glasses on.
All right. Oh, I don't need glasses for that. I need to see them. Then I will make a motion that we set the application fee schedule, a sketch plan review of $100 per fee, or per application. For minor subdivisions, $100 per lot. For major subdivisions, $150 hearing fee, and then $100 per lot. And the recording fee of $25, and Mylar, and a recording fee of $15 per page.
I will second that.
All in.
Sorry, in the building permit, $15, sorry.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, discuss the police coverage contracting regional police force.
So we had a joint meeting, the 26th, I believe it was, February 26th, Weathersfield, Reading, and Cavendish, about the possibility of having a joint police force called the Mount Muscatney Regional Police Force. It's a regional thing. Weathersfield they're getting their own police force one way or another, whether it's going to be Weathersfield Police or a regional police. So they came to talks with Cavendish and Reading and Weathersfield came together to discuss the possibility of having this one police force, which shares, administrative costs and stuff like that. It's happening really quick. So if people have questions, I can write them down because I'm not sure I would have the answers for these. This new force would fit within our budget this year. I can't tell you it's going to fit into the budget next year. And I would assume it wouldn't fit in to what we currently have budgeted. I mean, we've all talked whether or not we wanted more police. but you're gonna pay for more whether it's the regional or a contracting with the sheriff or somebody else. I mean, the reason we didn't have a lot of police coverage isn't because of who we had covering, it was because of what we as a town were paying to have covered. So, and even Weathersfield, I don't believe had any issue with what the sheriff's department was doing. They're just moving on to have their own force.
But it's my understanding, we were told at the meeting that to create a regional one would take a year to a year and a half.
Okay, so the problem with creating a regional police department is you have to establish a region, which then is essentially creating a municipality that would surround these towns. Each town would stay separate, that's not what it would do, but you'd be creating a policing region that would have to go through the legislature. Looking at it, it could take up to 18 months to create a region, because then you also have to set up a governing body for that region, which would be the towns. One of the solutions that I did find for, well, discussing with Brandon from Weathersfield, is the naming of the police department. There's no set naming convention. The normal convention is to name a town police department after the town. But they could in turn, because they're determined to set up their own police force, they could name the police department whatever they wanted to. So they could name the police department Mount Ascutney Regional Police Department, because Ascutney is in Weathersfield, so it does sort of justify the naming. There's no, as long as they report this to the Criminal Justice Council in the time frame allotted. So they could do that. But to set up a regional policing like they had originally thought, they would have to contract with surrounding towns, just like we contract with the sheriff's department right now. What other places that have done it, like regional police, is a combined sharing of police units. So each town has, say, if Cavendish had its own police force, and if Reading had its own police force, and Weathersfield had its own police force, you're sharing resources. But each set of the officers, how many come from each town, stay as town employees, not the regional police department. And they just combine forces to share coverage. So there's a lot of difficulties, but if they were to name their police department whatever they wanted to, and then say serving the towns of, and list the towns they're serving that they're contracted with, I don't know as if how much buy-in that would give to Cavendish or Reading for say in the operation of the police department.
I would think they could set that up so you could do that.
They could set that up, and that would all be between you
Right.
and them. But in order to do it in the time frame they're looking at, it would have to be a Weathersfield Police Department named whatever they want to name it, and then this
You'd have
town
a
would have to subcontract to them for the policing, and then you pay your part.
Yeah.
So
And-
I'm not advocating one way or the other, I'm just saying this
I
is
just
what
want to
you're
get all the
looking at.
information out there that we can. That's what I want to
And
do.
even without a budget, we think they're gonna move forward with it?
They're moving forward, yeah. They just might be just themselves.
To start with.
Yeah. Yeah. But I believe, I think that timeline that they had still holds true of looking and getting applications pretty soon. It might even be this week that they're gonna look to advertise for applications.
I'm all for more law enforcement here in town. But I think from being at that meeting and seeing their accelerated timeline, I think it's way too quick for us to jump into anything with them.
That's the biggest problem, to be honest with you. If we were talking FY '28 to get everything in line, it's a different story.
And I don't think we have any problems with what the sheriff's been doing here.
No,
We just need
absolutely.
him to be here more.
Yeah.
And I think we should continue with that for now, because I think we should wait and see what happens with the regional policing.
I think the only, and this is, I mean, I'm not advocating for either right now, but the only problem I would see is if they do, Weathersfield got their police department and say you want to contract with them next year, the biggest thing you lose out on is that seat at the table to discuss things. But I agree, I have no problem with what the sheriff's doing either, at all. And I think we're doubling, this coming year, we're doubling the amount of time that we have. And, you know, and next year I can see this going twice as much, you know. I look at the regional plan and see, you know, the amount of officers they have on there for 3 towns, and I think they're gonna need a few more. And that's, you know, that's adding, you know, a couple $100,000 for right off the bat. You know, it's $80,000 for a vehicle and, you know, benefits and everything else, $80,000 for an officer. I mean, you're talking a few $100,000 budget more next year. Possibility. I mean, I don't know that, but I'm assuming you're gonna need that amount of coverage.
Does Claude want to speak while he's here? Did you want to speak while you're here, or?
Thank you. My name's Claude Wyant, and I've now been put in the position of being like the sheriff, acting sheriff, whatever you want to call it, ever since the problems with the sheriff started here 2 months ago. So I'm the county high bailiff, plus I'm the captain, was the captain for a long time, under Mike Chamberlain, the previous sheriff. And I can't count the number of times I've sat right here in this room with the former sheriff, and we discussed things, talked about Cavendish and situations and problems. But first of all, we've really enjoyed Cavendish through the years. I've assigned a deputy, like the sergeant here, Keith, that was here earlier before me. He's assigned to mainly take care of Cavendish and Reading, and he contacts me all the time. Claude, I was a couple hours in the Cavendish school zone this morning, or in the afternoon. I went over to Cavendish to do this, to do that. So he takes serious Cavendish. And he also, his assignment is also mainly Cavendish and Reading. Not enough in the 2 towns for him full-time, but he's here of the hours that we are assigned here, which I believe right now 8 hours a week.
Yeah.
And so, but if that, I think I heard you say, Richard, made double, maybe?
We budgeted double the amount,
So he will even be here.
a little more than double.
So he'll even be here more. He takes it serious, he really does, especially school zones and other things. We've always tried to be available when there is some sort of parade in town. We'll change our schedule if I have to. I do the scheduling, I've been doing it for close to 20 years now. And with the last sheriff and with Ryan Palmer. And so we always try to, get a call from the town, Cavendish, town manager or somebody, hey, we got a parade we got to take care of, or we got or something going on at the school. So we switch things around, we'll do whatever we need to do to get it done. I will say, regarding the Weathersfield situation, I feel Cavendish and Reading will be second. I feel Weathersfield will be taken care of first. They only have 1 person on, that's what their plans are, 1 person on. And when, I'm not so sure they'll respond, or be willing to respond as much if you have special things going on in town or whatever. I wish them the greatest luck in the world, I truly do. It's nothing, I just feel, from what I've seen through the years, you're gonna, I'm not sure how great of coverage you're going to get.
I have that fear as well. I think we all do.
But, I
Yeah.
mean, it's nothing against Weathersfield or anything. We've been contracting there with Weathersfield. We've been putting in, we're supposed to put 100 hours a week in Weathersfield, but we've been going like crazy there. I mean, just the other night, constantly there's calls where 2, sometimes 3 deputies have to respond to Weathersfield. I'm not sure how they're gonna work it out when they have just one Weathersfield officer, where they're getting the extra people. But we scramble, we find them somewhere to get in there, but they weren't satisfied enough, or they had concerns. I understand with the current sheriff, all the problems he's got now, and, you know, they were a little nervous, and I understand. I do wish him the best, but I'm just thinking now of the little towns like Cavendish and Reading, so, and, we've always enjoyed Cavendish and Reading both. People are great, enjoy working here, so I would like it continue this way, at least for another year, like you're thinking this, and get a feel of how it's going with Weathersfield. Maybe another year with a little more research and stuff, maybe you'll see, hey, this is they have a great program, you know. We see how it works out, is my thought. But anyway, we love to be here. We enjoy patrolling the town. So we got Sergeant Keith that was back here. He loves the town. Always tries to be in the school zones a lot. And we try to take care of things the best we can. And when something comes up, you just call. We try to make sure somebody's going to be here, if at all possible. Yes.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I have questions too. But.
No, it's not a question, it's a comment. Because now I'm taking my legislator hat off and putting resident hat on. As a resident, I believe the sheriff's department would have a greater depth of support for if a call comes in, if an officer is ill, if 2 officers are ill. I think the depth that they can get to for bringing on officers faster and bringing a replacement in faster or backup is an advantage. And that's my opinion as a resident and seeing what goes on.
I have a question for you, Claude, if you don't mind. Just going forward, you know, if the board decides to, you know, to stay with the sheriff, one thing I was in talks with before this was, you know, our coverage we were going to have going forward. It wasn't necessarily going to double per se. What I've heard from the board in the past is there's a real need for emergency calls as well, which we didn't really have because we only had 8 hours of service. And I'm just kind of curious on how that fits in going forward on, you know, what does the town of Cavendish need to do? I know you, like, Weathersfield had 100 hours, so there's some of that, you know, some of that built in, not just patrol. But we're really 8 hours of patrol a week, not emergency. And I don't know what that looks like. Because that's the biggest concern, I think, in Cavendish is nobody to call, you know. State police, just, they don't have the numbers to get here. And I didn't mean to put you on the spot. We can talk about this in the future too.
It's a tough, one thing I can say is we try our best, and I try to encourage a little bit of, sort of like a fire department, a little bit of mutual aid. For example, if we have a deputy in Reading or a deputy in Plymouth, because we do quite a few more hours, and especially in Plymouth, if we have a deputy in one of those towns, and something comes in that's important here in Cavendish, they'll come. They'll come here if we have a deputy in one of those 2 other towns. It's kind of like a mutual aid, so to speak. Do the same thing if we have a deputy in Cavendish, then they have a bad accident, just over the line or whatever, in Reading or Plymouth, we do the same thing with those. So it's kind of working together, so when we have people out there, It's tough, it really is tough, you know, like in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning. We don't have anybody out there, hopefully the state police does, but Ludlow maybe responds, but when it was a really bad situation. And we tried to if we could, we had somebody else.
Yeah, I feel like that's just the hardest part of it.
It's always been a hard part.
Trying to think if I had any other statements or questions, just to get all the information out there. I know there was also discussion on where it would be housed. Like this current coming up year, it's gonna be by the Ascutney Town Office, around that area, which is a long ways away from us. There was talks that it would move closer to Downers, possibly. I mean, that's possibly in the future. So that's another thing to think about. That's that where the current station's gonna be is gonna be quite a distance away.
Well, I say we have our plan for now, and we have our plan for next year, and we wait and see what happens.
So, I told Weathersfield, we're not gonna make any decisions tonight, but I can give them a feel for where we're going anyways. It's pretty much undecided. We're not jumping on board with this regional police.
No.
And then, you know, we can solicit bids from sheriff and them if they want for this coming fiscal year. And, you know, but like you said, their amount of officers over there, that's gonna be hard for them to do, to contract out, I would think. Perfect. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Anybody else have any questions?
No, we'll be in touch soon with some sort of, I don't know, get some sort of proposals together for coming year. See what that looks like anyways.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board to sign perpetual care fundings.
So I have 2 perpetual care fund deeds for signatures. Make sure I don't give you extra stuff. Oh, Dave, your signature's still better than mine.
I know, I was thinking the same.
Yours must be pretty bad.
Hey, mine's pretty bad.
I'm like, oh.
If I use my right hand, you won't read it at all.
Oh, that was terrible.
I know we're off subject now, but I kind of forgot to ask. Say, you said it's 18 months to get this region.
Could be up to 18
Right.
months.
So say they do in business as, or, you know, Mount Ascutney Region Planning, in 18 months, this region is recognized, and you get that. And then Brownsville wants to jump on. Then, is it another 18 months? Because you got another,
I
you're
would, I'd
expanding
have
the
to
region.
look at that because you'd have to change the municipal region.
Right, so,
That's where I had suggested going with the naming convention of naming it as you want the town, want it to be,
yeah.
and contracting to the other towns, because then you can always add in serving the towns of, and whatever towns they're serving, which would be just a small lettering on the vehicle to addition.
Right.
In the same coloring, without forming an actual region. Because then if you tried to dissolve the region, if
Yeah.
somebody wanted to leave, far as having a seat at the table, that's for the select board to sort out. I was just trying to find a way they could do this because they're committed to being able to form it and have an existing registered name in that time frame without calling it the Weathersfield Police Department.
And I just want to make sure for whoever is going to watch the meeting at a later date has as much information as they can get.
Yes.
And I guess I did forget to mention that there would be, the Weathersfield does have equipment coming back to them.
Yes.
So I think it's 3 vehicles and then all the equipment with it. So there wouldn't be any large purchase of equipment.
Yeah, and it's whoever's gonna be doing their dispatching for them. If the state police agrees to pick back up on it, or who. That's another big piece.
Yep. They had a lot to work out.
Yeah, Rick, we had talked about this, VL. So if they do this name change, they do not have to go to the legislature
No,
at
they
some
do
point.
not.
So they could just take, so it's not like do this and then you have to go to the legislature. Okay. that's
Well, they can do it in
They're-
conjunction.
They could do it in conjunction if they wanted to form a region, or if they just wanted to name their police department.
And then contract.
And then contract.
Because as
And that allows towns to be flexible as well.
But as discussed, and I apologize that I threw this meeting backwards, but as presented when we did it before, that piece of information that people might see at that meeting, that wasn't really known then, because that meeting was presented as a regional police force with everybody on board. So, and it would be more in line with a contracting service that you have a seat at the table somehow with.
Correct. It was after I heard their proposal, then I understood what they were doing. I could then find information out to see where it would go, and I had a little bit of information prior to the meeting, but then was able to get better answers within 48 hours after it.
It's a bummer that we're not talking about doing this in a 2-year time frame. I think that's the biggest thing that is a drawback. All right, sorry. I went backwards instead of forwards.
Manager's report.
So I guess I can talk a little bit about, it's everybody's favorite season. Mud season kind of seemed to start. And all our equipment's ready. We have all the material. Everything's running. Grader is all been serviced and ready to go. So we were out there this morning doing a little bit. Wasn't that bad yet, but it's gonna be warm the next few days. And I was out today, and it's here. But I also kind of want to remind everybody that the next few days, it's not even supposed to get below freezing. And the only time that we can really get out there with that heavy equipment to fix any of these roads is when it cools down enough to hold those trucks up. So the next few days, if it doesn't stiffen up enough in the morning, we won't be able to do anything till later this week when it's supposed to cool down a little bit again.
Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, so that'll help us out a little bit, but we don't want to do more damage to the roads than we're fixing just by making it look like we're trying to fix them. We just won't go out there. Even up by your road.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thank you for getting some on Tarbell and getting some on Nap Pond.
Yeah.
That, what you got down on Nap Pond made a huge difference in whether or not I could drive my car tonight or not.
But we had to get off of it too. I mean,
Mhm.
it's softening up pretty quick. But we did get some stone out in certain spots, for sure. But I don't know. You never know how mud season's gonna go until you're in the middle of mud season. So let's just hope everything dries out quick, because as soon as the frost is gone and it's dry, we can do it all. So I guess I also want to mention, I'm sure everybody's heard that we did find a water leak. It has been shut off, and since it was shut off, we immediately were able to start getting more water in our reservoirs back. I'm not saying that's the only problem. You're cutting it pretty close when you have a lot of usage. It was the perfect storm. It was just the busiest time of year plus a leak. That being said, we were able to make enough water for demand and put 20 to 30,000 gallons a day back into the reservoir, or the water tanks, just by shutting that one house off, that one leak. Do have a proposal from some engineering firms about doing asset management. I didn't get it in time to even bring it up at this meeting, so it'll be at a future meeting. You kind of decide to go with asset management versus design me a new tank or design me these asset management. They go through at a cost of probably $40,000 to $50,000. They go through your whole system and identify any deficiencies and kind of give you the most bang for your buck. And getting this asset management done, whatever you will gain points on the priority list for funding as well. Without the asset management, you don't. I got to work it out, but those usually have loan forgiveness, where you have to take out a loan for this work when it's done, and you meet other certain criteria. The state, just forgives the loan, so it's almost like a grant at that point. I don't know if you know anything about those. Well,
Starting to learn about them as I was trying to get answers and somebody to call you.
But they're expensive, and everybody I talked to agreed, even the state level, that asset management is where you should start on these. But I'll have more information at a future meeting too. And lastly, I want to mention that, we all know that our longtime clerk, Diane McNamara, has retired. She has graciously agreed to stay on for a little bit to make for a smooth transition. I believe that's a very welcome thing. But I also want to make sure everybody knows that on March 20th, she heard the question in my voice, March 20th from like 2 to 4, so in the afternoon, we'll have some cake and stuff in here, and that'll give people an opportunity to come in and kind of thank Diane and wish her the best in retirement, and in a structured area versus just whenever. So Friday, March 20th from 2 to 4. It'll be here at the town office too. So. I think that's it for me.
Dave?
I'd just like to take a moment to thank the highway department for the long hours they put in during the winter. It seems like they've been doing a very good job taking care of the roads and sidewalks, and they just need to be thanked for that.
That it, Dave?
That's it.
Sandy?
I'm all set, thanks.
Sandy?
Nothing.
Mike?
I would like to bring up that maybe we have Rick put something together as far as a bill for the people who own the house that caused all the havoc with the water. You can do a comparison of what we used last year compared to what we used this year in the months of January, February. And even if we charged them half, the probably sleepless nights that he had,
I don't think Ron slept much.
the stuff coming out of our faucets because of it, the wear and tear it put on our filter, there has to be something we can do, because if one of us had a pipe burst and we leaked a couple of thousand gallons, we're still paying for it. They used over 1 million gallons of water.
So why not charge them for the whole thing? You probably won't see it all anyways.
The unfortunate part is, their basement is still full of water. I can't tell if the leak happened before the meter, or if the meter just, it doesn't look like the meter's been working. You know, we had this all through town where meters weren't working. So I don't have, if we had a distinct number that went through their meter and say the leak was afterwards, we'd bill them. You know, I've always done that. You bill them. You might not get it all, you might negotiate something, but you always send them the bill. But we don't have that number from a meter.
But I think if you can put on paper, we use this much more this year than we did last year at the same time, and we feel billing you for 2/3 of it, whatever percentage we come up with, is fair or equitable. Not to mention, you could bring up the sleepless nights,
Well,
the
the
amount of
hardship
work
on
it put it on the
people in
guys,
town.
and the filter, and then the havoc it wreaked in town. With everybody having brown water, I mean, the school went over to getting bottled water or something for the kids at one point because they didn't like the way it looked. It's just kinda, they need to know.
There should be some sort of bill, because like, if it would have gone to a meter, we would have billed them. It's just difficult without the meter. That's the only problem. But like you said, half, it's reasonable. Their water is shut off right now. I mean, they could always come before the board and ask for some relief in whatever bill gets sent, so their water could be turned back on at some point. Because if they get a bill for between $3,000 and $5,000, we're not going to turn back their water on until that's paid for. So,
I'm okay with that.
But you can't blame them totally for all that, because you said it was a perfect storm between the 2-week and Christmas. Like what, I don't know, what percentage of the water caused all of this to go on?
they have, the
Is
water
it
department
20%,
has,
is it 30%? I don't know.
they have pretty good numbers over the years. They can tell you last year, I can tell you, I know just in the month of January, we went through 1.2 million gallons more this January than we did last January.
Right,
So a good portion of that is,
So I'm saying, a percentage of it,
yeah,
because it had been mostly them.
because you had 2 weeks during Christmas, a lot of people up here, so there's,
Yeah, so did we had the same people last year,
I don't
because
know.
we had 2 weeks for Christmas last year too.
yeah,
Just
this
saying, the
was-
only difference, and you know,
There's a
even if you
percentage.
flux 100 people, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
charge them a percentage, charge them 2/3, charge them half, I don't care, but they
Yeah.
need to get a bill for something.
No, I agree.
That's for sure.
I agree. Now, you said the water is turned off, are people living there? I thought I saw cars outside.
I think they came and they got stuff, but we looked
Can't look at it, the
yesterday,
cell's flooded.
and the water,
No, I saw white trucks
There's
out
no
the
heat
other day.
gonna work,
I
no
think they were
electricity's
grabbing
gonna
tools.
work.
I'm sorry?
I think they were grabbing tools. Power is still on. I saw their lights, outdoor lights on.
Good for
Yeah,
them.
that's where it's been on since.
Luckily, they're right next to the fire department.
And they, their basement still had water in it. I've never been in their basement. I don't know if it's got electrical. I would assume so.
Mhm.
I
It's a mess.
don't really know. Have you been in their basement?
Yeah, we've been in there.
And is that a rental or do they own it?
They own it.
Oh,
They don't stay there.
excuse me?
They don't.
Stay there.
They're out of staters, but they own it.
We had a lot of issues with that house during the 23 flood. A lot of issues. A lot of problems for the neighbors. There's a lot of issues there.
I can tell you it's not a rental because the state fire marshal has been there and it is not a rental.
Without putting too much burden on you, coming up with some numbers and being able to
That I think-
justify a certain percentage, I think.
Mhm.
I mean,
Warrants.
50, if I did, if you did some quick math and, water and sewer, 50% of what I think, I don't have that now, but I mean, you're looking between 5,000 and 6,000 at 50%.
Okay.
And, you know, in all honesty, if somebody had a leaking toilet, they would be charged. I mean, this is 20 to 30,000 gallons a day. This is not a leaking toilet. But if somebody did, they would be charged if they had a working meter and they ran through their meter.
Were they living in the house during all this time?
I don't believe
Did
so.
they know that it was, I'm not making excuses, but did they know it was flooded?
We didn't.
No,
I doubt it.
That's why if you're not gonna be in town for a couple of months, you have somebody shut off your water.
We'll do that anytime. It's, you know, we do it all the time. Somebody leaves. We don't have that problem here as much as other towns. Other towns, people leave during the winter to go where it's warmer. Here, everybody's coming for the winter. But if somebody was leaving their house for the winter, we can shut the water off. I mean, I couldn't imagine what that house would look like if this leak would happen on the third floor, you know? We would have noticed it quick and been able to shut it off, because it'd just be a whole icicle, but the house would be completely ruined. It might be now, I'm not sure, but.
Can I ask a random kind of follow-up question to that? You'd mentioned at the meeting about signing up for meters usage after we kind of announced it. Have you seen an influx?
We've seen quite a few,
Good.
which is great. Margot put it on Facebook as well. So we're kind of waiting for the next round of when we go out because they're booked into next week already. And I don't want people to be, everybody call at once and, you know, we're sorry, we have to, you know, get you in April or May. But I also don't want to miss people either. So kind of riding that fine line. We may end up putting something out with the next round of billing as well.
Did you come out with, because I had mine put in, which I'm very happy Chris came. Did you come out with like the new rates or are there new rates?
There won't be until we have real numbers, and that's gonna take a little while. Take at least a year after a majority of the meters are in,
Okay.
before we know what people are actually using.
So, one of the questions I got was, somebody asked me, does this apply to Proctorsville? So,
The meters?
of course they do, but, you know, we say Cavendish Water, but I'm now finding I need to say Cavendish Water, which includes Proctorsville.
It does include Proctorsville.
Yep, so
and-
just tell you for your,
And a reminder, these meters are free. These aren't charged, we're not,
yeah.
there's no charge for these. These are town-owned meters that, you know, we purchase.
Did
Someone
that guy
could-
call you? The guy that contacted me about,
He did. But we have like 400 meters. We end up usually stripping them and getting a better brass price ourselves too.
that's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't about to speak for that one.
And you should tell people that Chris is not gonna come and take out the old meter that you have attached to your house or whatever.
He'll take out the old meter. The water meter?
Well, yeah.
Oh,
because-
you mean the box on the outside?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Right, because it could damage the house.
Could
and
damage
stuff
the
like
house,
that.
and if somebody had painted around it,
Right.
and they'd have a box they don't want.
Right.
So yes, correct.
But
The
we can
box-
take them down.
But you can take them down.
Yeah.
They're no longer
Yeah,
needed.
he cut the wires for me until.
Since it was brought up when we get to that discussion in a year or so about water rates and stuff, we might wanna seriously consider lowering the rate for the first 10,000 gallons, rather than lowering the rate for afterwards, for those people who use a lot of water should be paying more.
That's how I think I would like to structure it. That way, the person living by themselves or two people, and they conserve water and they're doing the right thing, isn't paying as much as a house that's got, 16 people in it that are washing all their cars. The people that use a lot of water should pay for a lot of water. And
The first 10,000 was, what, a little over $100?
Yeah.
It was back down to 80 or 70. The people who are living alone, the older people who just, they're empty nesters.
And I don't think people realize that, we are in the bottom
My daughter and
third.
son-in-law use plenty of water, so I'm not gonna plan on being one of
I
those,
was
but.
gonna say, what are you saying, you're getting older, Mike?
No, I was looking directly at you, Dave.
Yeah.
We are still one of the cheapest waters in, I shouldn't say the cheapest,
But
but
I'm
we're in the
just-
bottom third.
Was cognizant of it, we were having a discussion before everybody got here, because they got here a little early. We said the meters are very sensitive, and people's water bills will go up. Well, at some point, we'll need to look at lowering the rate because we don't need to charge as much, but I think we should make sure we're helping those on, that aren't using even 10,000 gallons.
So I can put something together. Do you want it?
And if you wanna bring it up next meeting and
That's what
show
I'm
us all,
wondering.
we can kinda make sure we agree with what.
Our
we're
bills
sending
would be
out.
out by the time the current bills would be out by then, by the April meeting. So they wouldn't get it in the billing period that it happened if we did it then.
That's okay. It took us a while to get the numbers together.
So yeah, I can have it for April.
Took us a while to find the leak too. So,
Too long.
if we
And
have to wait
there
a
was no
little
other
while-
way to do it. I mean,
Right.
there was nobody's fault that we didn't find it that long, but it's just too long.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? None?